So we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 through 29. And it says, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a sensible man who built his house on the rock. The rain fell, the rivers rose, and the winds blew and pounded that house. Yet it didn't collapse because its foundation was on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and doesn't act on them will be like a foolish man who builds his house on the sand. The rain fell, the rivers rose, the winds blew and pounded that house, and it collapsed. And its collapse was great." When Jesus had finished this sermon, the crowds were astonished at his teachings because he was teaching them like one who had authority and not like their other scribes. So we see here Jesus is describing two different kinds of lives. He's talking about a life that's built on a firm foundation and a life that's built on a unsolid foundation, on a sandy foundation, something that won't stand through the trials of life, through the hard times in life. It won't stand because it's not built on a solid foundation, which our only solid foundation we have is in Jesus Christ. So Donovan's going to share a little bit about how have you seen Jesus be that firm foundation in your life?
I guess probably just making ends meet when I didn't think they were going to meet, and just seeing just the power of God, like the only way this could have happened was through God, and certain situations where there's nothing that I could have been able to do to be able to succeed in that situation, but put my trust in God.
Yeah. Sig, we'll go to you next, man. Kind of same question. Just how have you seen God show up as that firm foundation in your life?
Yeah, no, I think he's just always he's always just a presence he has in our lives. Like especially when you're a believer, he's always around. Whether it's something big or small, you always notice him. And I think just having him around in your life and his presence alone, it's a big effect on you. Whether it's good or bad, he's always there for us. Whether you may not see it now, but he always has plans for us, like in the future. So whether it's not going to happen right now, but he always has the plans for us. So that's, I think, the hope and the belief in him is what drives me.
Gosh, sense though, as we let Jesus be that firm foundation, there's purpose and meaning to everything, even the hard times.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's always a reason behind what he does. Whether like I said, like you may not see it like right now in the present, but in the future, you'll see his reason behind everything that happens to you.
Well, Justin, you just showed up on my thing here, man. So tell us some ways that you've seen Jesus be that firm foundation.
Well, kind of like what Sig was going off of. At least for me and my family, we've felt an overwhelming sense of security and lack of anxiety or worry. We feel his presence here and are trying to do our best to live in it and stay in it. And kind of like what Sig was going off of with everything happens for a reason, whether we know it or not, whether we seem to like it at the time or not. We have an overwhelming sense of trust and faith that his plan will work out for the benefit of our lives and is meant for good and not for harm. So we're just trusting in that. And
sure. So Jeremiah, you're last on the list, man. Looking at this passage, thinking about Jesus being that firm foundation, how he stands firm, how everything else we place our life on, it's going to fail eventually, but Jesus stands firm. How have you seen this like actively happen in your life where Jesus has been that firm foundation?
I'd say I've seen it in a lot of aspects. I know, like for instance, the house that I live in now. So I moved into this house right after I just turned 5. But the first thing my mother did before they built our house was she put a Bible in front of the house and built that as our house being on top of that foundation. So see something like that and to realize like my mother believes and like that helping to shape me into the person I am and helping me to believe. And then not only that, but just to see it like it's so different how he makes things work. Like they say God works in mysterious ways. So those mysterious ways could be through people. So like you go through, I went through a couple of tragic situations while I've been in college, and the people who I've met in college and at Stetson have helped me to become a better person and to help me get through a lot of difficult things that a lot of people may not have had that support and that help to get through. So that's how I see it, how he's been that foundation, that firm foundation to help me keep pushing and to become a better Christian, a better person, a better human being, a better child of God.